You asked how millennials become multimillionaires rich, right? Well, first of all, you got to man up. Now, this sounds awful. You got to act like you had a pair. It's that simple. The millennials like the MMA. You know why? Because they're all wusses. Why are guys like Joe Rogan, why are they so admired by you kids? Because they got a pair. I want kids to know, and your audience, I came from nothing, but I had self-esteem. You don't have to have money to make money. What you have to have is belief in yourself. Okay? You don't have to come from something, but you have to have belief in yourself. And unfortunately, most of the millennials don't believe in themselves. They act like victims. They have the victim syndrome. And that's unfortunate. Did you realize Gallup did a poll 2 years ago? 87% of the human race is unhappy. 87. Why are they unhappy? Because they don't have what they perceive as what they deserve. But it's not what you deserve in life, it's what you earn in life. I came from a shitty background. My dad beat me, I got in a lot of trouble. I found a way to turn it around. The kids, the millennials, give up too easily. You have to want it more than the air that you breathe. I've always criticized, you can do whatever you want to do if you believe in it enough. When parents tell their kids, you can be anything you want to be, you can be the president of the United States, that's bullshit. You can be anything you want to be if you've been groomed properly, okay? And that means your parents had to know something about building self-esteem. We don't do what our parents tell us to do. We do what we see our parents do. So when I tell you, you can be anything you want to be, I've created billionaires with these two hands. If I looked at your 5 friends, each one of you, the best of you have one maybe person that's worth having as a friend. If you measure, am I growing with this person? Is she detrimental to my future? And you go through the list, very few of the millennials that I know can justify the people that they hang with.
So let's dive into your story a bit more. Tell us about East LA.
When I was there as an adolescent, it was almost all Mexican. And my father was a policeman. My mom was a housewife. My mother came to the United States. She crossed the Rio Grande River in 1924 as an illegal alien with her mother. And we lived almost right where downtown Los Angeles is. And my dad was a cop, and so it was easy for him to get to work. And so I got in a lot of trouble, done some awful things while I was a little kid especially. Finally, they threw me out of the school district. So we had to move to another school district. And my mother thought that I would be better there because she thought it was the environment. She didn't understand it was me. So then when we moved to the Valley, which is called the San Fernando Valley, which has become infamous now. And so I went there and I got in a lot of trouble. I was arrested 5 times. Finally, I volunteered for the draft in 1966, more or less at the height of the Vietnam War. And the Army made a man out of me. I became an officer, and the rest is really history. And it was the first high performance thing I ever did. I didn't understand, other than I had a father who looked like a superhero, alpha male role model. Other than that, he was my benchmark. He was very athletic. He was an all-American athlete in high school, and I could barely chew gum and walk at the same time. I was very uncoordinated. So my aggression I took out on other people. I could get in fights real well. I've always been a big kid, and so but I went off in the Army. The first high performance thing I did was become an officer, and I got out of the military quite by accident. I was going to stay in the military because it was perfect for me. It was almost impossible for me to get in trouble. And they gave you crazy things to do, which I enjoyed. And then one day, I got a special award One day I'm sitting in the officers club and a 2-star general said, Danny, why don't you buy the drinks for all of us? And I said, I bought the drinks. You don't ask a 2-star general why. And then he said, the magic words that changed my life. Danny, a young man like you could get rich in the civilian world. And I swear to you, a light bulb went off over my head. I never thought of rich Danny Peña in the same sentence. And I applied to get out of the Army. So I went from a regular Army officer to out, and I went back to school. A 4-year education in 2.5 years, and I almost got straight A's because it was easy. It was easy. I didn't realize how bright I really was until I got in the military. Because in grammar school in East LA, they used to stand me in a corner with a dunce cap. And if I was bad, they put me in a corner. Then they put me in a closet. And they keep me in the closet until my mother or my grandmother came to pick me up. But my father told me, sticks and stones can break your bones, Dan, but words can never hurt you. The first thing I did is I looked for anomalies in the federal bidding process for federal products. I saw there was the refineries across the United States were only 60% being used, and yet there was a jet fuel shortage with the U.S. Air Force. So I put 2 and 2 together, I connected the dots, and I bid on federal contracts. And the first year in business, I did $50,540,000 in business with one employee, me. And then when I had that money, I went out and I sought oil and gas partners, drilling for oil and gas. And so I continued to build. Well, I bought an option on oil and gas property for $60,000, and I turned it into $160 million in 99 days. From there, I was overnight success. And so I took it public and I grew the company, up to about 500 million, excuse me. Then the shareholders threw me out. They threw me out with a lot of money. So I didn't cry. Don't feel sorry for me. I decided I wanted to do something else because I already was ostensibly pretty rich. And I tried to teach university for a year. I found that very unfulfilling. The system that was devised 70 years ago after World War II, you go to work with a company, you work 30, 40, 45 years, you get a pension, and you can live in a picket house with 2.4 dogs, 6.4 grandchildren, and hopefully your original wife. Well, that model is dead. That is impossible anymore. Down deep in your soul, you know there is no get-rich-quick scheme that's legal. And virtually all the other gurus, although I don't consider them in my league, say it's easy and they upsell. And then they upsell you, then they say it's even easier or whatever. And it's not easy. It's ball busting. It takes a lot of different sacrifice, but you gotta really want it. You have to want it more than the air that you breathe. It's just one thing. I wanted to be super wealthy, as I defined back then. And most of my network was created in that period. So for a millennial, it sounds trite, something they believe in. If you change 1 billion lives, you'll get wealthy. What do you believe in enough to quit your job to try to change 1 billion lives? Most of the kids just want to know if they get paid twice a month.